and welcome to the stream. I am Vikova, you can call me V, and today I am streaming Roadwarden again. It has been too long and I'm very excited to get back to it. So the situation with Roadwarden is that about a month ago, my PC melted down after 2 or 3 years of working with a very bad graphics card, corrupting everything, and I lost the save. Thankfully, I now have a working PC thanks to some very generous friends, but I had to replay up to where we had gotten in order to continue the game. So this isn't exactly the same as it was previously. I've tried to make the same decisions, I've tried to go to the same places, but I think that there will be some things we'll have to do a second time around. So just consider it kind of this like weird reload alternate universe sort of situation. Hello and welcome to Kyrivo, to Quarrel, to Rowan, to Calmly Enveloped, to Sario, to Jabal Barker, and to Talon. Hi, Talon, we were just talking about how great your song is again. It's the subject of the start of every stream. Yes, so let's get back into the game. So at the moment, I am in Creeks, which is the village of the young naked people, who need some help to get going. They are missing hunters, and I kind of want to find those hunters, and while traveling around, obviously I've been able to focus a little bit more because I was off stream. Really, it's enormous how much more focus I have when I am not simultaneously streaming. And I found that it seems likely that they've gone north, and we haven't really explored north. So that's something I'd like to do. So at the moment we've got 11 hours before dusk, so we've got a lot of time. We have good armor, health, and food. Doesn't look too bad. Jabal says, I don't know what just don't then referred to, but I feel like just don'ting very much by this point in today. Rowan didn't want to get up. So that's what the just don't referred to. I wish you the opportunity to not today. Sario says it really is such a nice song. It really is. So, having a look here at the map. North is this ways. And we might remember we went into the old tunnel. I haven't done that again yet. Now, you can travel around the tunnel, but it takes longer. But I really want to focus on making this world safer for the people in it. So I think I might try and clear the human-eating skeletons that took over this tunnel. I might actually try and do that, which is like a scary idea. And Jabal said it could go really wrong, but what if it didn't though? So Quarrel says Shadowfax snorts at the kids and says, the more diffuse a light source, the less distinct the shadows it produces are, with an overcast sky creating few, if any, discernible shadows. Thanks, Shadowfax. Yet another amazing fact about shadows. Srilix says, always not when you can? Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna go back into this... Let's go back into the old tunnel. We'll have to re-explore it. Oh, I'm frightened. Oh, to explore the tunnel I need a reliable source of light. I think I don't have the lantern this time. Alright, let's go around it. We'll try the tunnel later then. Never mind. I don't have a wooden lantern this time. There we go. New entry, the closed tunnel. The detour is not as smooth as the main road. A wagon could make it through, but even so, you have to squeeze between some narrow corridors, hoping no beast is going to jump at you from a ledge. You walk, leading your mount with an axe in your hand. In the middle of the road, after reaching one of the higher hills, you take a glance ahead. Even from here, you see the sun reflecting from the ocean, but there's also a pillar of smoke coming from the distant west. There may be a volcano somewhere behind the horizon, but you can't tell if it's part of the peninsula or maybe a yet stranger land. Once you get to the other side of the mountain, you find the northern entrance to the tunnel, blocked by a large bronze gate, so tall and wide you're not sure if it's something you could open with your muscles alone. There's a keyhole as well, as large as your hand. A keyhole? Interesting. What if we came in from the other direction? Saria says, what if it doesn't go wrong? Things often said right before it all goes horribly wrong. Yeah, but that's for other people, not for us. I'm going to say unlocking the tunnel would save me a lot of time. Alas, I don't have a key, so... Alright, where are we? You get a good look at the village from a distant hill. It's torn between taming the crags and succumbing to their whims. The grey boulders are like the rotting teeth of a giant, sprinkled around by an ancient spirit. The carved cave mouths are covered with wooden doors. There are only a few windows, and you can only imagine how dark and cold the gouged-out rooms have to be. The buildings and walls made of logs or stone blocks must be much younger than the caves. The impressive, whitewashed keep, standing on top of the hill in the west, could just as well have been built in the city. Smoke rises from both sides of the wild river. You see many, busy souls as they go about moving tools, food, and timber over the bridge. Your arrival at the eastern gate causes some curious glances, but the only person who approaches you is a man who is sitting at a table, discussing something with a few elders. He's carrying a crossbow on his back and a long, rusty knife at his side, but he doesn't reach for them. It must be a guard. I dismount. Oh, Fixato, hello and welcome! Jabal says there really are some gorgeous area descriptions in this. There really are. It's a gorgeous game. I didn't want to abandon it, which is why I replayed just in order to catch up. Cyrillic says, if the hole is the size of our hand, how hard could it be to pick? This is a good point. Why can't I just put my arm in and kind of wiggle it around, find the pin? Anyway, it must be a guard. I dismount. Can I have a look at this whole thing? No, this is as big as it is. The man has to be older than 40. He wears an elegant blue-green linen tunic, but no armor. His skin is yellowish, like seaweed seen through a sunbeam. His long grey hair is tied in a ponytail, and his beard is trimmed to half a finger of length. A few large cysts make him look sickly, but his powerful, truculent voice adds to him strength and confidence. Cheers, stranger, you've reached Gale Rocks, you did. He observes your mount, then looks at the path behind you. I see no caravan from here. Are they coming? He suddenly meets your eyes, and his tone gets even harsher. Or are you here to idle about? I'm going to say we're not here to idle about. Rowan says, oh gosh, older than 40. Ancient! So old. I listen to the nearby conversations. You have to get used to some of the local words and phrases that you've only heard coming from the mouths of the oldest of city folk. The vast similarities to the tongue of Hovlavin only makes these differences more distracting, like a gloss pulled into the core page of a codex. Let's see. Well, how are we going to approach this? Friendly? I mean, you can never go wrong with friendly. I'm just going to go out, put this out there. Friendly is always good. Don't worry, friend, I have things to do and I won't bother anyone. Playful? I grin widely. Nah, I'll just show you some tricks and I'm on my way. You know, second yolks in your eggs, images in fire, that sort of stuff. Seems okay. Distanced. I'm a Roadwarden. I'm here to solve problems, not cause them. Well, that's actually fine. It's not very friendly, but it's fine. Intimidating? Right now, it's you who's wasting my time. I have things to do. Yeah, it seems like a great way to introduce yourself to the person guarding the village. Ooh. Fixata says I'm turning ancient this year. Congratulations on making it to ancient status. Is it like dragons? When you turn 40 and therefore become ancient, do we gain like a new size class? I would like to get, like, taller. It's irritating that you stop growing when you're like, I don't know, between 20 and 25 or whatever. I think I stopped growing way before that, but... Rowan says I am well past ancient. Rowan is now ageless, I believe. Let's see. So Vulnerable says, trust me, I have enough problems of my own to now seek new ones. Okay, well, I like Friendly and Vulnerable quite well. Playful was fun, but I feel like it's misjudging the situation. Distanced is fine. Intimidating is stupid. It's a terrible choice. I'm never choosing intimidating. Quirrell says, hi, I'm the Roadwarden and I collect problems. It does feel that way. Kariva says dragons don't actually get taller, their horde does. Oh! Jabal says I was born ancient by all accounts, but in actual years I'm still some way off 40. Oh, so you'll have to catch up in your years to match your soul age? I don't know. Rowan says purrs like the ageless. Love it. Which option should we take? I'm leaning towards friendly. Surprising no one, but I am leaning towards friendly. But these are all pretty good, apart from intimidating, which is terrible. Feel free to weigh in. Oh, it's so exciting to be back here again. Which one was vulnerable? Vulnerable was, trust me, I have enough problems. Srilix says friendly seems good. Jabal says I am never likely to object to being friendly. Saria says friendly is always good. Thanks, everyone. I'm glad we're all in agreement. Let's be friendly always to everyone. Rowan says friendly. 100% friendly. He takes a step closer and examines your appearance, then shrugs. And who are you then? You don't look like you're a part of the caravan, and I don't have to let you in, neither here. He points behind him. Nor there. He nods toward the western gate. I introduce myself. Fixato says, at least this year I don't have to do head math when someone asks me for my age. I forget what age I am. Too often. I lost 1 year of my life. I think I was never 26. The day after I turned 26, I started saying I was 27. And I didn't realize again until my next birthday. Birthdays, they're hard. Sorry, it says vulnerable is also usually good. I often like vulnerable. Another Roadwarden? Are all them parents in the south too dumb to teach their kids how to keep their fingers in their own pots? He shakes his head with an exaggerated motions and looks at the elders at the table. A Roadwarden, see that? Trying to cut the conversation short, you tell Shadowfax to follow you inside, but you're stopped right away. Leave it by the walls until it's nightfall, right? We ain't cleaning our roads after any drifters, bards, or adventurers. He speaks with growing disgust. Don't worry, we'll keep an eye on it. You tether your horse to the stems of a shrub, and the man nods with approval, then turns around. I'm not allowed to bring Shadowfax inside? Rude! Horse manure is useful. Do you not grow things? Oh. Skrillex says, after 18, I started needing math. Fixato says, born in 83, you do the math. Rowan says, Roadwardens don't get no respect and neither do horses. They don't. Kyriva says they don't grow things on the roads. Well, they could scoop it up and put it where they want it. Severus, hello. Severus says, I don't like to say how old I am, not as long as date of birth is used for security information. Truth. Jabal says, to be fair, I think here they mostly fish, which horse manure is less useful for. Surely they eat more than just fish. Surely. Can you... I'm not going to click won't someone show me around. I am not getting a giving us a tour vibe from this man. Let's see. Can you tell me anything about the village? He stops in place and glances at your boots. Right. We fish. We salt fish. We sell fish. Our brave ones trade barrels for whatever we can get at other villages, but... He shrugs. Not much else to it, you see. Life here is slow. Without another word, he returns to the group of elders, where he helps one of them remove bones from their meal. Okay, they just fish. True. Japal's on it. You go to... Maybe there are locals looking for a match in another village? The gatekeeper... Or I'm looking for someone. Well, let's look for a match. There's a nice woman from... You might not remember, there's a nice woman from Hollow who is looking for a partner. We found one person who said that they want an extremely casual relationship, which seemed to clash with what she said she was looking for. So we're going to continue to look around and give her some options. While the vast majority of the locals see this place as their home, and even feel indebted to their families and neighbours for looking after them, Paulus seeks a different path. He isn't even 20, but, trained to work on the beach, is strong, slim, and a bit loud. I can even hunt fish, if that's the only work left, he admits when asked about his plans for the future. Just not here, not after all them neighbours turned a blind eye toward my harpy of a mother. He reveals the scars on his back left by willow withies. Oh, that's awful. You mention religion, and he shrugs without a second thought. I can do whatever, barring wicked spells. You make sure he means necromancy and blood magic. Right. All I want is a companion for the mornings and evenings. A woman with a kind soul, and if good winds allow us, to be the mother of our children. I'm ready to work for them till I faint. He flexes his muscles. I'd gauge my arm for that. Marina is a few years older, but much shorter, pale, and with dark circles under her eyes. While she hopes to find a wife or a husband, she won't leave the village. I have a 6-year-old. His father went into the fogs on a foraging trip. I'd love to have more kids, but my forebears have been living in this village for longer than anyone can tell, and I'd rather not make our blood too thick. You ask about what sort of traits she's looking for. Someone kind, loyal, serious, and diligent, no matter if they're a water carrier or an artisan. My own back is weak, it suffers after standing for long hours. I help with fish smoking, cleaning, foraging, whatever there is to do. When asked about her convictions, she looks at you as if the question is beyond absurd. I won't lie with a lad or lass that's a stranger to the right's teachings. Interesting. Gosh, there's so many people looking for partners. Okay, so we can match everyone up at some point. Would either of these two be good fits? Timo is looking for a traditional partner to have children with. Shoshi is looking for someone... Shoshi doesn't really care who she finds. But I think Shoshi doesn't intend to leave Creeks. So Shoshi and Marina are incompatible. But Paulus is the first person I've seen who seems like a good fit for Timo. Maybe I shouldn't do any matchmaking yet. Maybe I haven't found enough people yet. I'm not built for matchmaking. I can't decide people's lives. I just want to help people. This is too hard. Why can't they just all meet each other? Okay, I look for someone else. You hear angry shouts coming from one of the rock-carved houses, but they suddenly stop. You go to the gatekeeper. Why is it yellow? Is this a glitch? The guard you met when you first arrived at the village is leaning against the wall, observing both the gates and your mount. Whenever Shadowfax snorts, the gatekeeper reaches for his axe. Oh, he's afraid of Shadowfax. That's why he wouldn't let Shadowfax in. Come on. Rowan says not enough shipping from V here. Yeah, I guess not. Severa says you're not making any decisions for them. You're just pointing them in a direction and letting them make their own choices. Oh, I like that a lot. That's a nice way to look at it. Jabal says, V, I want to help people. People are complicated. V, oh no, exactly. This is I can't cope with this. Saria says, organize a village-wide speed dating session. I would much rather do that. As long as I didn't have to take part. I'm just gonna walk away. I'm not gonna be rude. Am I looking for someone? Which person or service are you looking for? Because I wasn't shown around. Inn. Your search for an inn is futile, and the locals are quite proud that they have no place to waste their days with mugs and dice. These people are miserable. They explain that if any caravan needs to stay the night, there's always enough space to empty one of the caves. If you need a room to spend the night, you're told, Fulvia may have something. Fulvia. Oblachko, hello! Maybe I should try and send those people out to each other and see what they like. Which person or service are you looking for? Taylor. You get directions to one of the smaller buildings. As time passes. which turns out to consist of only one spacious chamber. Like other caves in the village, it lacks sunlight, but the workbench standing right next to the entrance is well lit by an oil lamp. The old iron lantern is decorated with shapes of seaweed and monstrous tentacles. Srillik says cave? All these houses are in caves. It's very strange. On the counter you see threads, scraps of clothes, old tunics and some boots. Behind it there's a mature woman, though you can't precisely guess her age. The flame, dancing because of your movements, distorts the shadows cast by her wrinkles and large nose. Her bright red tunic is light, made of something lighter than hemp or wool. The sleeves end at her elbows, allowing her hands to sew together two pieces of fabric. Greetings. She runs her dark yellow eyes over your clothes. Her hair may be getting grey, but the colourful wooden beads among them distract you right away. Cheers, stranger. You need something patched up? After you nod, she looks deeper into the store. Good, as I'm better at fixing tears than making togs. Take a look. Indeed, while there's plenty of shelves and cupboards covered with pants, tunics, jackets, robes, hats, boots, and bags, many of them seem old, or made from 2 or 3 combined pieces of garment. We buy outfits from other villages, explains the tailor, maintaining her bored tone. And as they get worn and damaged, I turn them into something new. Jabal says, how are we all anyhow? I haven't been here in like a month. Yeah, how's everyone doing? I'm okay. I've been deep in tidying world today, trying desperately to claw my life back after like a decade of increasing inertia. And it's going okay. But it's like, it's a task cascade, like 9 would say. So every time I clean something, it then creates a large amount of stuff that I have to find something to do with, and that becomes a new task, and then it's a whole thing. Srillik says, well, it's 2023. Fixator says, what are togs? Togs can just be clothes, I think. But togs can also mean, buttons. But in this context, I think it means clothes. Rowan says, I am traveling today and kind of anxious about it. Oh, no wonder you didn't want to get up. I hope it goes well. Are you going somewhere you want to go? Is it the travel that's anxious or the destination? Haribo says, have an extended hospital stay ahead of me, dreading it. Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. Hospital stays are horrible. Let's see. Do you have anything for sale? My neighbours walk in and put on whatever they feel like wearing, but ain't wasting our fabric on outsiders. Thanks! Maybe you'd like some jewellery? When you mention you'd rather take something useful for a traveller, she hesitates. Well, if you really need, I can pack you some old tools of mine. They'd help you fix your armour and togs without anyone's help, though ain't as easy as you'd think. Ooh, let's discuss prices. For one of my monies, you will fix my jacket +1, so it'll be 3/4 fixed. It's 8 for a Gambeson repair kit. It's 5 to... How does anyone get money in this game? Jabal, I don't understand how I get money. A pendant showing loyalty to the right in their churches. Well, I am not loyal to the right in their churches because I am a pagan in this game. But that's probably going to be useful at some point. Would you fix my Gambeson? Oh, fantastic. It's like fully fixed. Oh no, it's 3 out of 4. Okay. That's still good. Thanks. Her name's Rafina. There might be one more village that we haven't encountered yet that I can match people up with. Although maybe I should just match people up. What if I ruin their lives? Rowan says, destination is good. I'm seeing my boyfriend in Seattle for the first time in ages. Oh, that's great! I'm sorry the travel is stressful. Travel is very stressful. Blatchko says it's exam period right now and I've been working on a uni project for 2 weeks straight and there's a month more of this. Oh no! Oh, hang in there. Fixato says, by the way, what happened when you had to replay the game? Well, I had 10.9 hours in the game, and to get up to this place where I think I've done nearly everything we did previously, it took me about an hour and a half. Because I didn't have to read as much, and I wasn't reading anything out loud. So it was pretty good. The hardest thing was not exploring new things. But I did have to just replay from the beginning. Quirrell says, big computer crash. I think V's entire hard drive died. It did! It did entirely die. And I could, and it was gonna die again because the graphics card was so bad. And then some very generous friends helped me cover the cost of a new graphics card, and now my PC works and never crashes, and I love it so much. It's so good. Fixato says, you were just doing an introduction. People are responsible for ruining or making their own lives. Okay, let's try and match these people up. Let's just do it. I think Paulus and Timo want the same thing. No, Marina and Shoshi. Oh, you don't get to choose anyway. I just tell them. The game has decided who's a good match. Oh, that takes so much of the pressure off. Okay, I'll just tell them that. Whew, that's how I would have tried to match it up. I tell Paulus what I've learned about Timo from Howlers. He asks you a few additional questions, some of which are centered around Timo's face and figure, and spoken with embarrassment, then flashes you a wide smile. Right, she sounds dreamy. If she's in, I'm in. Let me know what she thinks about me. Okay, cool. I tell Marina what I've learned about Shoshi from Creeks. She looks around nervously and her voice is low and hesitant. An open relationship? As if... Seeing her blush, you nod. Our forebears wouldn't encourage such a way of living. Does she pray? When you mention that her village in general seems to not put much importance on matters of faith, she seems to lose hope. Is she pretty at all? She says without meeting your eyes. You try to answer some more specific questions, making her interest suddenly grow. If she's really looking for safe, slow days, ask her if she's willing to abandon this weird wish. Tell her, she pauses and straightens up and speaks with confidence, as if she's reciting an old story. Tell her this, outsider. You can find love of soul and shell with me, and a new path free of empty cravings. You won't ever look back and regret it. I mean, she might. If she's polyamorous. I guess I can tell her, but I don't feel comfortable with that. The Timo Paulus one was a little bit easier. Oh gosh. Oh dear. Sorry, so sadly I must go. Have a good day, everyone. And good luck with the matchmaking meet. Thank you, Sario. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Fixato says, a friend who I know from a Discord gave me a very pleasant holiday surprise by offering me his old work laptop. That definitely made an otherwise difficult period lovely. Aw, that's wonderful. Colin Veldt says this game has polyamory in it? Apparently. I mean, hopefully I don't get involved in any kind of romances in this game because it's just so grim. But yes, there's like a whole village seemingly where everyone has open relationships, and also they don't wear clothes. We've been there a few times. Let's see. What else am I looking for? What else could I look for here? Work. I always look for work. A young fisher with a broken arm mentions that her overseer, Photius, was planning to make a trip outside the village. Maybe he could use your help? Ooh, okay. What else am I looking for? Chief. Ooh! I'm so good at choosing the things! Success. Colleen says, oh yeah, I didn't mean for you, just nice to see. Quirrell says, I really don't like it when games try to push a relationship on you. I mean, I like games having the option of romance, for sure. There's a lot of games where I really enjoy the romances in them. But this game doesn't feel like that sort of game to me. Kariba says, weren't we going to put the romance and necromancer? Well, no. We would put the friendship and necromancer. Quirrell says, like in the first Mass Effect, you basically have to be extremely mean to both candidates for the game not to hook you up with someone. Oh, really? Ew. I haven't played Mass Effect. A young basket weaver with legs too short and thin for her to stand on scoffs at your question. You don't even know her name, or that we call her a head woman? Okay. Like all them outsiders, you know nothing of our customs, yet you think you can bother us. I'm just passing through, lady. Before you respond, she looks at the white building on the hill. She's in the keep. Scat. Oh, good day to you too. You head to the western bank and walk past the big kitchen. There's a bank and a big kitchen. All right, everyone, we're learning locations I could go to. The steep path leads through an open, unguarded gate. As you look around the guard, you notice a few pigeons running around. Oh, I want a pigeon! Keenly observed by a pet griffin tied to a wooden beam? A pet griffin? Some drying underwear hanging from a rope, a spiked flail leaning against the wall carelessly, and a knocked-over bucket lying in a puddle of water. The place may be messy, but is not impaired in its function. Preparing it for defense wouldn't take longer than a few minutes, and judging by the wall walk of the Bailey, it could stand an attack from a large squad of soldiers. The current state of the place makes you think of Hovlaven, whose stronghold yards and temple walls are often surrounded by small peddlers, a few of which are even allowed to set up their stalls. As long as they don't hinder anyone else's tasks, they are allowed to pursue the scarce scraps of open space. I look at the keep. Rowan says she seems nice. Kerry says neck friendshipper. Yes, exactly. Skrillex says, kitchen. Jabal says, I think all these sea fishing here makes everyone a bit salty. Oh, amazing. Fixato says, I like nuzzling a partner's nape. You could say I'm a neck romancer. I look at the keep. The bright walls stand out from the other structures in the village, and as far as you can tell, the current layer of whitewash is still fresh. There must be at least 3 floors inside, enough space to contain more than 100 people, though without much between them. There are arrow slits in the walls, and the roof is surrounded by a fence-like barrier, a perfect spot for boulder throwers and archers. The large entrance door is ajar, with a wrinkled man sitting on a pillow placed on the stairs. He's not wearing a gambeson, but the fine steel-sickle sword at his side makes it clear he's not just a regular guard. He stops what he was doing, carving a figurine from a log, and stands up to greet you. Cheers, Roadwarden! Severina was told about your arrival. Follow me. He may be old, but he is tall. With the long and thin arms of sea folk, a neatly groomed beard, and his grey hair in a ponytail. As you follow him, you're hit by the strong scent of cloves. I'm curious, how old is old? Like, if 40 is ancient. Is this old man, is he like in his 30s? Harry says, ooh, Severina, the golem lady mentioned her name, right? Oh, I think you might be right. Was that the person the golem lady was suspicious of, the enchantress was suspicious of? Pink Pockety! Hello! Welcome! That is an adorable emote. Wow. Little red panda. Sibira says this is a very dangerous world. Seems like you're doing well if you even reach adulthood. Yeah. Skrillex says, I mean, without good healthcare, life expectancy isn't great. True. Calmly Enveloped says, I still think one of the funniest jokes is on a story-based podcast that puts some characters from our world into a D&D-like one. There was a misogynistic MRA incel necromancer that they called a neckbeardmancer. It's pretty good. 9 says 25 is probably pushing old for these people. Oh, that's just depressing. I climb up the stairs. The door is thick and can be barricaded with 2 wooden bars. The hall is filled with benches, some of which are placed on top of the others, giving a bit more space for now. There is one path to the next floor, suspiciously covered with planks. The chamber is free of the roaring of the river, the shouts of the workers, the chaos of the animals, or the smell of cooked food. The room is well lit both by sunlight and candles and quite drafty, though you still smell perfumes and aging wood. You doubt anyone lives here or even uses this room for dining. The Roadwarden is here, says the guard, and approaches the desk, standing between you and the old woman sitting behind it. Interesting. Okay. I take a closer look at her. So far, she hasn't spared you as much as a glance. She's writing on a large wax tablet with a stylus as large as a dagger, and since she's a bit stooped, you see her only from the chest up. She's wearing a thick, warm dress in the colour of a cherry, and an even darker, modest hat that's covering her hair. She could be older than 70, yet her face and hands have been spared from scars harsher than some pockmarks carved by illnesses. If you were to encounter her in Hovlaven, you would expect her to be an official, or maybe a rich scribe. Some of her belongings, however, wouldn't be found at the city's desks. The wax of her tablet isn't dyed. Instead of keeping water in a cup, she's a large, colourful seashell, and the winged hourglass placed on a stone stand is made of dried seaweed. The winged hourglass is the right church's symbol, right? I glance at the young woman who sits in the corner. Her crossbow is pointing at you. The resemblance between her and the elder is stunning, though she's slim and a bit taller, and wears a simple dark blue and black woolen tunic. While she's resting on a chair, she looks at you almost without blinking, with hardly any movement, like a cat staring at a rat, trying to judge if you're defenseless prey or a threat. Okay, let's choose our approach! Friendly. It's nice to meet you, Severina. I came here to see if your village needs any help from a Roadwarden. I love that. What a great approach. Good manners. Playful. I smile and spread my arms. Considering the effort put into building this keep, I expected a bit of a larger garrison. That's a terrible thing to do. Let's not do that. Distance, we have two options. Greetings or cheers, head woman. Sure. Intimidating. I pat my axe. You seem to be worried that you skipped a few important steps when it comes to security. No? Vulnerable. I'm sorry to intrude while you're busy. I won't take much of your time. Interesting. Okay. Let me know what you think I should do. I'm leaning towards friendly. Surprising no one. Jabal says I should put my historian hat on to point out that basically no historical society is really thought of 30 years old. It's an oddity that crops up in modern materials based on misunderstanding statistics. Like life expectancies often got down into the 20s, but what a life expectancy in the 20s actually means is super high infant mortality bringing the average down, and then if you reach adulthood you probably still make it to 50. Yeah. I did know about that, but it's worth bringing up. It's irritating that that's kind of how a lot of fantasy worlds have interpreted that. Srillik says 50 is pretty, not old. Yeah. Kariva says friendly. Rowan says friendly. Srillik says friendly or vulnerable. Yeah, friendly. It's nice to meet you, Savarina. I came here to see if your village needs any help from a Roadwarden. No sudden moves towards our axe. No movements or jokes. We're not going to get ourselves shot. Okay. She raises her violet eyes, but only for a moment. Her violet eyes, everyone. Where do you think you are, outsider? Some lost tribe desperate for help from adventurers and vagabonds. Our village carries blood older than your city. It does, and we've endured hardships you couldn't imagine. Her accent is not as thick as that among the younger villagers, keeping a shadow of the years when the guild had tighter ties with the peninsula. But since she has no teeth, you have to think for a moment before you recognize some of her words. Better tell me what you want from my people, and scat. Her face shifts into indifference, and, still holding her stylus, she once again bends over her tablet. She's not going to tell me anything. No one ever tells me anything. I ask them for stuff, and they're like, I don't trust you. I'm telling you nothing until you help me. And I'm like, I can't help you. I have no money and no abilities. It's difficult. Quirrell says, that's true, but this is the real world. This is the fantasy world. You're risking death basically anytime you go outside. It's really lethal. This world is definitely one of the better, like, grimdark short life expectancy worlds. Like, every 5 steps we get attacked by something. It's wild. Bacon, hello! Bacon says, greetings, Warden of the Road. Thank you. Greetings. I tip my hat to you. Okay, so... let's just go through it. What are your thoughts about the necromancers in the White Marshes? They were not very kind to me, but I really want to be their friends. You almost jump away when the crossbow woman shifts her position, but she turns out to just be uncomfortable with the way she's sitting. Severina smirks, but as she starts to speak, her voice grows worried. What happens in the White Marshes is a sign of cowardice and weakness. I've seen my share of harsh years, and I sympathize, I do, with tribes that had to feed their people with tree bark, or decide which mother will eat enough to feed infants. But all them walking corpses will get out of the charms and murder their masters like they always do, and instead of hunger and cold, they'll face the end of their souls. All we can do is keep ourselves safe. You try to ask a few more questions, but to no avail. We don't really travel there often, stranger, and some of the knowledge we gathered on this place is for our ears alone. I nod. She can't trust that I will keep anything between us. Nobody talks. This world is so sad. Nobody talks to each other anymore. Old person voice. Quirrell says, but you do have bog knowledge. It's true. I do have the bog knowledge. Shrillix says, does she have any work maybe? Probably. Pink Pool Kitty says the mechanics are really good at conveying that you're powerless and don't really have a way out. Yes. They're very, very good at conveying that. Teferax, hello! Calming Velt says, and facts about shadows. That's true. Shadowfax has been keeping us well facted up with Shadowfax. Let's ask about the work. I spend a lot of time traveling between places. Do you have any work for me? She runs her eyes over you, then frowns without as much of a hint of subtlety. Show me first that you're worth something. Work with our fishers. Find someone seeking a messenger. I don't need a stranger before autumn, when we'll trade for winter grain. Oh, okay, well. Okay. I'm worried about asking the other necromancer question. I don't want them to go fight White Marshes. Did the village face any struggles with the bandits? I probably should ask it. Nobody listens to anything I say anyway. She looks at her guard, then around her. Have you noticed where we are? We're safe enough to fight a dragon, and if there are any bandits in our woods, they eat nothing barring timber and worms. Whenever we trade, we send groups of 10, 20 souls strong, enough to push away a few footpads. Okay, have you seen Asterion? He's also a Roadwarden. He seems like a terrible person, but I have no idea where he is. So, she shrugs and reaches for one of the candles, casting better light on one of her smaller wax tablets. I know who he is, but I've only spoken with him a few times, and heard that he stopped visiting the village at the beginning of summer. If he was around, I would know about it, I would. You mention that you doubt a Roadwarden would simply ignore a headwoman of such a large village, and she looks at the ceiling, chewing on her bottom lip. I don't know what you're trying to imply, she says with a tone that won't accept any discussion. I had as much in common with him as I have with you. I don't trust strangers with crucial tasks, and if a warden of any kind wants to demonstrate that they know what they're doing, I invite them to survive a year or two before they bark. Everyone hates me, Skrillex says woof. What did Asterion do? He got the daughter of the chief from Howler's Dell killed. He advised her to be bait for goblins, and she just got killed. And then he ran away. He was not a nice person. And nobody seems to like him, and nobody's willing to tell us where he is. He's definitely dead. We just don't know, like, who did it, really. That's my feeling. I don't respond. My patience runs short, outsider. Severina gestures for you to pause. Are you sure other matters can't wait until tomorrow? No, I would still like to talk to you. Ooh. Chappelle says, I don't think it suggests that you're powerless. Your choices very much aren't totally free for you to solve everything. You can make real differences, and sometimes it's about appreciating when you can do the small-scale stuff, even if the sum total of really big problems is more than you can manage. Yes. I like that. That's a good way to put it. Tefrak says, being goblin bait does not sound like a smart plan by smart people. It really doesn't. Srelix said, who killed him and which one of the very good reasons why? Exactly. Okay. What can you tell me about the tunnel? I'm so curious. It's full of undead. I can tell you that the venerable digger Iuno, will tell you more about it than you want to hear, she will. Before the war, it used to be crossed every 10-20 days, enough for us to keep it garrisoned. But with how little use it has now, I'd be mad to ask any of our youth to throw themselves at the beasts that lived there. She glances at an open pouch that's lying just nearby, with a few dragon bones sticking out of it. Her toothless grimace is hard to read. And don't offer me your services merely to get rid of the Awoken. I need long-term solutions, not violence, and sooner or later another threat will take their place. It may just as well stay occupied. At least no vagabonds will take it over. If you say so. Can you tell me a bit about Gale Rocks? She speaks slowly, with the kindness someone may show an annoying brat that has one last chance to learn from their mistake. Do I look like someone who'd be interested in spending time as a guide or a telltale? Before you answer, she starts to move around a few small packages and looks inside one. Scat! Spend some time among our walls. Speak with the fishers, the artisans, all them lads and lasses whose blood keep the shell of our village alive. I sigh. Alright, I'm gonna ask the question. Considering that the people of your village follow the right, I'm surprised you're not pressured into taking action against the undead. And what do you think we ought to do? Encourage them by taking their land, or startle their wild game? Maybe torch their roofs? She takes an awkwardly long pause, yet Yet as you start to answer, she instantly cuts in. We have no plans to conquer or pillage their home. And while some of us would like to take matters into their own hands, I ain't risking our lives in battle with mere heretics. Without walls, we'll have nothing to keep us safe. I say nothing, expecting her to interrupt me again. Alright, well, farewell. Thanks for nothing. I should look for Iuno. Yes, I'm going to look for Iuno. Okay. Fixata says, if her people feel like they've been betrayed by the Roadwardens, I can certainly understand her posture. They just hate everyone, though, it seems. The locals explain that the centuries-old caves need little work, and the humble fixes they put into the walls and sheds are taken care of whenever such a need arises. After a few minutes of chatting, one of the children leads you to an elderly woman responsible for looking after the condition of them buildings. The digger called Iuno, already wrinkled, grey-haired, and slightly stooped. She's sitting at the eastern gate, placing tiny building blocks on the table, raising a tall tower without making it collapse. Her hands are steady and precise, and her large eyes blink so rarely that you want to rub your own. She spares you a look and leans back, resting against the wall, then crosses her arms and critically observes her toys. Cheers, stranger. I have time. Okay, this is two paths. Let's ask about the tunnel, because I'm super curious about the tunnel. I need to go find a lantern. Hang on, I need to have a drink. My throat is getting super sore. Okay. Mute. Calmly Enveloped says, would you like chips with all that salt? It's so good. Siberia says, don't forget the PC really is working for a group that wants to take away their autonomy. They've got a good reason to be mistrustful. That is true, though I am not going to help Hovlavin. I've been bad-mouthing it all over the place. I don't want to help anyone with Hovlavin. Let's see. I'd like to learn more about the tunnel. It's older than any human soul, it is, but not ancient. Those who dug through the mountains were still around when I was but a small lass. The village saved everything it got from trade for more than a generation to bring the bronze gate from Hovlaven here, the pickaxes, and all them tools and nails. It has a single long corridor that reaches from one end to the other, and a few chambers on both sides, where travellers used to spend a night if they were desperate enough. Don't try it without a group of guards now. Monsters also love deep caves, and the days are getting colder. Okay. How come it's locked in the first place? Okay, I gotta put my notes. I'll be back. Oh, okay, sorry. My body is trying to shut down because it's like, this is too much reading. Don't you remember we had laryngitis 3 years ago? And I'm like, I do remember. It's been a while. Maybe I could just talk for a while. Would that be alright? Alright, here we go. Okay. It depends on who you ask. Let's just say that a great turmoil happened 10 years ago, right? The settlements grew further apart, traded less. Keeping a garrison of fighters and builders at the tunnel brought little value. We had to put greater trust in our own work, not in the caravans, once again foraging, cutting trees and farming. With time, more and more beasts gathered around the tunnel, getting used to seeing no pushback. She looked at an old plank that's been resting behind her stool. She compares its thickness with her toys, then reaches for a gouge and a handsaw. It was 3 years back when a few of traders went missing. Our searching group found the gate locked from the inside. They tried to check it, but left the place when they saw moving shells, dead and fleshless. We decided to clean it someday in the future, maybe hire a group of strangers to take the risk upon themselves. She glances at you, but so far none have reached our village. She wants me to open the tunnel. Oh, I also want me to open the tunnel. Let's help each other out. Jabal says, I will say that we have not heard the entirety of Asterian's story or every angle on it at this point in the game. Oh, I think that's true. No one's really told us anything about him. Okay. I was told you are the one who looks after the local construction works. That's pretty much right. She glances at the spread wooden blocks. Every few springs or summers, I gather a crew to build something new, or rather replace an old hovel with something fresh. But most of the days I just make sure that roofs don't fall on our heads, and that the cribbing in the caves ain't too moist. Then the coopers help me or a bunch of fishers. She gives your axe a long look, then reaches for her much smaller hatchet, and shaves one of her toys slightly, narrowing it. For centuries, there's been merely one digger at a time, and this custom serves us well, it does. Let's see. A digger is an unusual name for your trade. Did your crew build that keep on the hill? It must have taken you many years. And with the merchants, do you have enough building materials for your needs? A digger is an unusual name for your trade. And what would be a usual name in the city? A builder? After your shrug, Ayuna grasps one of her wooden blocks like a dagger. Our forebears used to, dig in rocks, widening the caves, and it was a name with great honour behind it. When I look around, she does so as if to prove her point. It reminds me of our long path, from hiding to thriving and on the surface. She can't hide her smile. Did your crew build that keep on the hill? She looks in its direction. The whitewashed walls make it look brighter than many clouds. We started when I was only a teen, still learning from the previous digger. Her voice is full of pride. There used to be a humble watchtower there with tents around it. Now we can all stay locked inside thick walls, but also shoot arrows from the wall, roof, and windows. You ask her if the keep has ever been used by the locals in combat, and she suddenly grows disheartened. You would be surprised, you would. There are tales of dragons, pirates, and bandits. But all of those happened before the war. Those lands were different, though I can't exactly say how. Do you have enough building materials? Better ask the Coopers, they struggle with timber. The good thing about digging in hills is that we always have enough stone. Our rocks are crude, but we don't need to sculpt, just pile them on. She turns a few building blocks into a small wall. Farewell. Okay. I could still learn more about the wares shop. Wares. You learn that the locals craft mostly in winters and only work on the things they need for themselves. The only year-long artisans are the carpenters and coopers, but even they produce almost exclusively barrels. What can how am I going to learn anything else out? I'm struggling. Ooh. Jabal says, can we look for the Coopers? Oh, maybe. The Coopers and carpenters in general have their space at the edge of the village, separated from the saltery with a stone wall that catches the shavings before they reach the fish, in which are then swept into a pile and moved to the smokehouse. You walk between the 4 woodworkers while the last one, a young woman with an apologetic smile, leaves the thatched store. She's wearing a heavy, worn robe, half brown, half yellow, covered with dust and wood chips, and carries under her arm a stack of willow withies. 2 small seashells in many shades of orange are hanging from her ears. Stranger, we need space here. I was hoping to learn a bit about your work. I'm from Hovlaven. I hate Hovlaven. With a sigh of relief, she approaches an unfinished barrel, whose staves are getting pressed together with a dense cage of weaved withies. In the city, the Coopers would use old iron hoops, which would take less than a 20th of the labour. She drops the delivery and touches your shoulder with her large, strong hand. So the guild wants to speak trade again? Very well, all right, very well. Let me show you around. I'm Domitia, the head carpenter, I guess. She states with hesitation, and one of her workers mockingly snorts. Your guide laughs in response. Shag an eel, idiot. Her small crew laughs as well. I smile as well, I guess. Let's see. Her teeth are mostly yellow but straight. My predecessor lost his eyes to a harpy a few days back, so I'm new to this role. But don't worry, I know what I'm doing. She confidently straightens up. Right, we have 2 types of work, barrels and everything else. On good days we make a barrel, on bad days we fail. She laughs. But that's fine, we can always get it done after a good sleep. She goes into greater detail and your eyes start to wander between the benches, pieces of cut wood, mallets, axes, and shaving tools. Noticing this, she nods toward the other workers. When the barrels are resting or bending, we do other things, but only for our own farmers, builders, and fishers. Navika is the most experienced of us, so she makes boats, paddles, right? Responsible tasks. The tiny woman she points at doesn't even raise her eyes. We sometimes make furniture, we do, but merely when something breaks. So the barrels are the most important. Do you have enough wood for them? Not really. We use oak, beech, and pine, but the staves have to rest for 3 years, sometimes 2, sometimes 4. Every day I bring 14 staves and 2 headers here, and we replace them with new ones. We're careful with what we have. It's hard to plan years ahead. She gives you a warm smile. You need to talk about it with my neighbours first, but maybe the guild would like to provide us with timber? We'd rather barter than lock the coins in the keep, you see. The guild won't move wood from their own stores so far to the north, but they may help you set up a new hamlet or find you a partner who lives closer to Hag Hills. Right, it would need to be someone outside of the peninsula. Here everyone cuts only for themselves, they do, even those jesters from creeks. We used to have a camp of lumberjacks, but now our warehouse gets emptier every day. For a bit, you discuss with her the value of a wagon filled with logs or planks, but the discussion leaves your area of expertise quickly. You simply promise to get the message to the merchants, and Domitia wishes you a safe journey. I take one more look around and leave the workshop. Okay, so I need to look for carpenters then. That's the other group. The carpenters work without haste, shaping the precious beams and planks carefully yet confidently. The smell of raw fish from the saltery gets a bit too intense. Okay, so fishermen's? Fishers. You're told that the fishers spend long hours at the beach in the north and can be found in the village only during the very early or very late hours. Unless the weather makes Fishing too dangerous. Okay, well, I think I have to leave because I'm running out of time. I'm gonna need to go and find somewhere to sleep or I will be eaten. Srillik? Oh, goodbye, Srillik. Thanks for being here. Navica was mentioned by name? Oh, let's do it then. Is that the person who had worked for us? Navica is the best boatmaker in the north, says a young boy with a proud posture. Come, I'll take you to her. The carpenters have their space at the edge of the village, separated from the saltery with a stone wall that catches the shavings before they reach the fish, and which are then swept into a pile and moved to the smokehouse. The tiny woman keeps her distance from the other workers, partially because of the many bits and pieces she needs constantly at hand, as well as logs, steamed planks, and a boat keel only a few steps away from her. She must be at least 40. Ancient. Older than any other woodworker in sight. Her light brown hair is in a ponytail, letting her work, and the simple tunic and pants, made of hemp in 3 shades of red, have short sleeves and legs. Her tanned skin is like dark honey. She glances at you from afar and turns away, cutting some sort of log without pause, as if hoping you won't notice her. The massive broad axe, made of fine steel, looks even larger as it's resting on her back, and it's engraved with the shape of a toothed eel twisted into a spiral. The kid leaves you alone, and you're standing in silence. I've heard you make boats. Yep, I make boats. She doesn't raise her eyes. I walk away. Okay, well. I don't know. Quirrell says you could probably still go to the fishery. Let's try. Fishery. No. I'm gonna... How long is it gonna take me to get back to Foggy Lake? 2 hours. Hang on, it'll take me 2 hours. 6 hours and 30 minutes before dusk. Okay, we can travel a bit. I'm going to leave Gale Rocks, and I am going to keep exploring the north a little bit. And then we'll come back. The roars of the sea reach you first, then the cold wind, and the light. There are hardly any shrubs nearby, and as you ride downhill toward the white and gold beach, the sunbeams hit you with full force. The sea here is not like the one from Hovlaven's port. The harbour and waters most people see during their busy days are full of life. Ships, warehouses, traders, dockers. And of course there's Sickle, the barrier island that provides the city with its lagoon, but also serves as home to dozens of species of birds, monkeys and rodents. For most people the sea is never silent. But if one travels to Sickle and looks west, or embarks on a boat and sails away, there's yet another view, a very different one. The never-ending blue, the emptiness, the humming waves, the monsters swimming to the surface just to take a breath, not even interested in the wooden vessels. Many say that if one jumps off a ship with a heavy stone, they will drown before they touch the seabed. Here, however, the water can't be separated from the rocks that cut through it, like a swarm of mushrooms in a dark forest. Their shapes and sizes vary, but it's their number that makes them unusual. If you were to name each one, you'd have to make up at least half of the names. There's no doubt where the name of Gale Rocks comes from. The stones piercing through the surface of the water are shaped like beast fangs, as if they're asking for ships to dare and test their strength. Where it's possible, I keep to the greener parts of the beach. Sand is awful for hooves. This is exciting! You follow the sharp turn to the right. The road remains broad enough for carts and wagons and avoids the sands, letting Shadowfacts trot without disturbances. The grasses to the east and south are short, and hardly any shrubs have managed to oppose the harsh winds. The human activity you witness is intense. A large barge is resting on the river, immobilized by the ropes and wooden posts, and you see a few people foraging at the beach and in the grasses. Even more people, most of them without wrinkles, are gathered at the pier, where they prepare their boats and nets and talk about their plans for the following hours. You reach the end of the beaten path, getting to the stone-made pier, just next to a small dolman-shaped bed. Shed! Another dolman! Ooh! Only the door seems to be fairly new, and you don't doubt that both of the structures have been repaired many times in the past, crumbling under the touch of the waves. I head to the fishes. Pink Paw Kitty says, I'll call it a day. Have fun with that lovely game and see you around. Oh, goodbye! I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. You approach a group of workers standing in front of the shed. Photius! Photius was someone we were looking for. Is there, one of them tells you, and points at the tallest man dressed in undyed wool and linen. He's discussing something with a group of workers, but as you head in his direction, he nods for you to join him on the side. His outfit is heavy, appropriately so for someone who spends so long hours under the hits of the cold onshore winds. The massive leather boots, thick tunic and pants, and the heavy cloak, now held under his arm, make you wonder if he'd even be able to swim. Like most sea folk, he has long limbs, almost no facial hair, and ears so flat they are hardly noticeable. His neck draws your eyes. It's covered with marks left by the burning suckers of a sea monster, as wide as your finger is long. Those are cool scars! Below these scars he's wearing a pendant made of a fist-sized black beak. He speaks first with the strong and confident voice of a young man, no older than 25. Okay, what's old and what's young, game? We don't really sell any cat on our own. Maybe ask our smokers or the cook. That's fine, I was hoping to speak with you. And who are you exactly? After you introduce yourself, the man raises a corner of his mouth in an angry grimace. I won't have much to tell you, Roadwarden. Like my neighbours, he looks at the nearby fishes. I struggle with day-to-day living, I do. Not adventures, and even less so outsiders' schemes. Okay, but do you have any work for me? Work? What do you know about fishing? You mention the docks of Hovlaven, but after a few questions about fishing nets, boats and winds, it's clear you don't impress in this conversation. Teaching one how to work with us takes time, effort, and rescuing those who fall overboard. You ain't a kid of ours, so if anything, it should be you who pays us for sharing what our forebears have mastered. You explain that you can fight better than most, and that gives him an idea. Our guards stay at the village, so we always move in groups and waste time securing the beach from harpies and saurians, we do. We could put 3 more souls on the boat and keep you on the beach. You'd guard those not fishing with nets. And what's in it for me? New mundane job available. Wonderful. Actress, hello, welcome. Jabal says, I am trying some vanilla tea I got, waiting for it to be ready. It smells very vanilla. Not sure if it should be done with milk or not. That sounds nice. I've never had vanilla tea. How much do you want, stranger? He responds carefully, and he spent a few minutes discussing the details. Right, you'll get a meal and 2 coins for a peaceful day, and another one for putting your life at risk, he summarizes. But you must be at the beach soon after dusk, while we're preparing our boats, and have enough strength to convince me you'll be more of a help than a bother. It's too late? I thought I had... Oh, it's too late after dusk, okay. This is great! I can make money! I can make money and then I can actually achieve things! Oh. Are you sure you don't need help with something that would fit my skills? I spend many hours on the road. He gives you a long look. You know what, outsider? There's something you could do for me. You can't really ruin it by trying. I need you to help my daughter, Phoebe. Seeing your look, he raises his hands. Don't worry, she's fine. Merely spellless. For generations, my family used Numa to lure fish and hold our breaths. But no matter how much she practices, she can't cast even the tiniest spell. There's something wrong with her soul. He pauses and his voice grows pained. She's my only child, and I seek no new wife. I want her to have the choice to do whatever she wants, and it breaks me to think she won't have a way to follow in my footsteps. I'm not magic. I don't really know how I can help you. Maybe I can find someone. His eyes were absent. A few years ago, our traders were at the home of this weird enchantress by the Eastern Road. I know her! I don't know her name. She lives close to the old watchtower. You can't miss it. If she's alive, she may still have these weird rocks. She does have those! Spirit rocks, I think. They help weakened mages. Buy one, bring it here. Maybe eating some Numa will help Phoebe learn. What does your daughter think about all this? What does she think? He looks at you as if you're mad, then glances at the nearby fishes. She'd be heartbroken to realize she's spellless. I won't tell her unless I have no other way. She's merely a child. I'm doing what's best for her. Oh, are you? Eeh. This sounds like a very unusual healing attempt. Are you sure you want to try this? I've asked our sorcerers about what they felt when they used the stones. Their pneuma got stronger than on most days, and nothing bad happened to them. We risk nothing, outsider, he says with growing irritation, and stops himself from scratching the scars on his neck. I mean, I trust the enchantress. If she says it's safe, then it probably is. Have you asked any herbalists, though? Maybe a priest or another enchanter? Have you heard about the previous Roadwarden, Asterion? You nod. In spring, I sent him to one of the greatest mages in the peninsula. Some druid, I think. And that old prick told me there was nothing he could do, you hear that? And I had paid the messenger to learn this. He squeezes his cloak even tighter to his side. We have no herbalists here, but since the spirit rocks are safe, I'd rather spend my last coins for such a chance than try nothing and regret it. Sure. I do trust the enchantress. You forgot to mention my payment? I'm not a drifter. I don't hoard any savings. We gather everything in the keep, we do. A spirit rock should cost about 10 coins. 10 coins? Since it's quite a journey from here, I'm ready to pay almost everything I've got. 15. Alright. You lead Shadowfax back to the road. I spent some time looking through the pieces of driftwood. They could be useful at an alchemy table. You stay close to your mount, observing the disorder of rocks, dead plants, and animal remains that are coating the sand. Ah, my nose is stuffy. Just a moment. Oh gosh, that was unpleasant. Actor says one day I want to be referred to as the weird enchantress on the Eastern Road. Calling Belt said I can make money and then I can achieve things. What a capitalism mood. It is depressing. Jabal says I think he might mean soon after dawn, not dusk. That makes more sense. I don't know if I met the druid. The druid isn't that nice weird guy out that opens the way to White Marshes, is it? Is someone else? You stay close to your mount, observing the disorder of the rocks, dead plants, and animal remains that are coating the sand. The pieces of wood, with their forgotten stories of foreign lands and sunk ships, are gathered in short stacks. You approach the largest pile and push all the sticks, boughs, and branches aside, sparking displeased shouts of worms, crabs, and other beings that used to live among them. You find the piece you were looking for, which is unlike the others. Not too thick nor too long, and with a few little chunks of wood coming out of only one end, like a bunch of fingers. You nod with approval, reciting in your head a part of the withering dust recipe. Fuel with an ocean wood in the shape of a flower. Ooh! At the moment, I have ingredients for a healing potion, and it looks like I now have the ingredients for a withering dust, and I have access to an alchemy table at Foggy's, so I could make some potions, which would be very good. Okay, I leave the piers. It's time to travel, I think. We can't go any further in this direction. That's exciting. 2 hours 15 to get there. Got a little bit more travel time. It's going to take too long to get to the Enchantress, because we need a key for the outpost. The dolmen isn't safe. Where could we go and have a look? Maybe we could go see if there's some plants available in the forest garden, and then we could go to Foggy's. I'm going to try that. Once tamed part of the woods, now neglected. Our falcon rests on the broken signpost, but soars into the sky before you get closer. For a few minutes it flies above you, maybe waiting for you to leave. There are some ripe fruits in sight. Yes! I could spend a few minutes foraging for wild plants. Most of what you find are large apples, not as sour as the wild ones, and some wild strawberries. Picking them takes little effort, and the short meadow hides nothing more dangerous than rats, rabbits, mice, and grasshoppers. And with the help of your mount, you can reach the higher branches. I pack them into nets and bags. Great. Now let's go to Foggy. Okay. The grass in the animal pen has managed to grow back a bit, which your mount welcomes with droopy, relaxed ears. The tavern's windows and doors are open, and a bunch of furs are spread over the fence. We're fighting bugs, says the shorter man when he sees your look. I enter the tavern. Okay. I can sleep here, I can eat in the morning. Should we make some potions? It'll cost us money. I go downstairs to the alchemy set. The ointment that could help me at the ford, that's the anti-bug ointment. A healing potion. Blinding powder. Withering dust for removing bushes and shrubs. That would help me get to the white marshes. A sharpening poison that can enhance my senses in combat. What should we make? I feel like a healing potion would be really good. You never know when someone might need a healing potion. Or we could give it to the tree. You know, the zombie tree that we kissed. I hugged and kissed it this time. It doesn't know pet, but it does know hug and kiss. So those are the prompts that I use to express affection towards the tree. Let's see. Maybe a healing potion? Healing potions may be the most desired liquid in the Dragonwoods. See? Especially among the travelers, hunters, and fighters. The ones you've followed so far are capable of keeping a soul on the verge of death. They won't fix a freshly cut off limb, nor cleanse one's shell from an illness or poison. It'll take 3 hours, but I do have what I need. And it will cost me 2 dragon bones. So I probably shouldn't make that until I know I need it. Maybe another time. What about the withering dust? I don't have the ingredients. I need a bog friend picked in the middle of the day. Was the mushrooms? I can't remember where they were, but they said I couldn't pick them till later in the day. I think it was at the crossing where that you get into White Marshes with, where we have the wall up, remove the trees. Alright, well, I step away. Let's just go to sleep. Sleep. Okay, we have lots of health. 5. I'm gonna spend 2 rations for a good sleep because I'm gonna try and buy a lantern and then go clear out that tunnel. Jabal says, Maya buddy, swamp Conrad, marsh pal, Coral, and Kairu say bog friend. Alright, 2 rations. The rain once again hit the ground, interrupting your sleep. No! No rain! Another day of muddy roads. That's gonna slow us down. Rowan says, Vio, not interested in any romances with the people in Roadwarden, but a tree! True, though. Okay. Foggy, I would like to eat. Okay, we're doing pretty well right now. Full health, mostly armored. Our appearance is, like, gross, but okay. I'm gonna save. And where can I buy a lantern? I've definitely spoken to someone. Do you have a lantern? I need to find someone from whom I can buy a lantern. And I don't remember where it was. Would it be in my journal? Archive. In my archive? No. No. Journal. No. Jabal, do you know where I get the lantern? In Howlers? Oh, that's good. I need to go there anyway. Oh, it's gonna take me longer. The muddy road is slowing me down. I love rain, but in this game, rain is bad. They've made it much worse than real rain. We'll gossip a bit. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Recently, the mayor was arguing with the druids, but no soul knows why. Ooh. Hello, Timo. She's at the creek, but takes a break to speak with you, apologizing for her crude appearance. She gasps for air with her hands on her knees, but looks you directly in the eyes. I tell her about Paulus from Gale Rocks. Sounds like a worker, but make sure he will ne'er oppose the marriage rites. His village follows the rite. I need his word he'll leave his spirit behind him. If he agrees, her teeth are yellowish but healthy, he can come in full, and we'll see how we get along. Okay. I'll have to go back and speak to him. I offer my services to the guards. Will they give me money? Clearing the paths. You'll join a group of guards and workers that are meant to remove branches and other obstacles. This task will take you about half a day and make it dangerous. It's only 2... Oh my god. Making money is very hard. Let's go speak to the mayor, because I've learned lots about the world. No, I don't want to ask her to hang the rod until she trusts me. She doesn't trust me about anything and I have no news. What about the big spider? Doesn't anyone want to know about the big spider? Fine. And now it's too late to do work. Oh my gosh. This game. Let's try Akakios. When Akakios notices your arrival, he tells the other villagers to give you some time in private. Still in one piece, aye? Yes, okay. Do you have a lantern? Primitive but convenient. It will only cost me 4 of my 5 monies. I pay it. Okay. Do I have anything to sell? A golem rod? I don't want to sell those. How much would you give me for the trollbone tablet? He makes a satisfied grunt. Nice work. And you've got... Eva got the stylus? It'd make for a nice gift if I were to change the wax for a green one. Want to leave it here for 3 rings? Ugh, I don't know. Doesn't seem very good. But I need the money. I now have no money. Maybe I should sell the... Should I sell my tablet? I really might need the money. I'm gonna sell the tablet. I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell my tablet. Okay. Whew. Alright, we have a small amount of money. I want to get 10 dragon bones together so I can give them to the woman at White Marshes who sent us to get her pouch she was promised from under the bridge, which had been eaten by flesh-eating fish. So it only had 1 in it and she was expecting 20. I would really like to help that woman. She seemed trapped in White Marshes. Okay. 7 hours. Let's do some exploring. Shall we, with Jabal's suggestion, shall we travel west? Travel west. I want to find Old Pagos. I need to have a look at my journal to remember where that is. The path is clear in a way. The pebbler is nowhere in sight, but the road is covered with leaves and broken branches. The only fruit-bearing trees are growing right on the sides of the road, surely planted there by humans. There are many more fruits and leaves the monster may chew on, so it may return any day now. If it craves what this place has to offer so much, I should just get rid of its food. It may take me an hour or 2, but at least I'll gather some fruits for myself. That sounds good. Yeah. You prepare all your tools, especially your thick protective gloves, and tether Shadowfax to one of the younger trees. It's not an easy task. You spend more than an hour cutting down twigs, shaking off the fruits of the thinner branches, picking them up by hand, or hitting them with a stick. Your rope helps you stay secure, and the first few minutes of climbing is closer to fun than work, but the longer it takes, the more tired you become. You finally take a break to eat a couple of plums and apples, but the best ones you save for later, covering them with a blanket, and putting it at the very top of your bundles. You're standing on a carpet of greens, browns, reds, and purples. You drag some of the thicker branches to the side to make riding forward easier, but the earthworms and boars are going to have a feast. Let's hope the pebbler is picky enough to ignore all the mess on the ground. We might have cleared a road! The corridor of pruned trees leads you to a steep ascent. Behind them grows a peaceful meadow, filled with flowers and crickets, and the humming of a waterfall. On the beaten path, you spot no footprints or wheel trails, but there's smoke on the horizon. I dismount and lead Shadowfax on a rope. The pastures and fields are spread over an unnatural plateau. Humans must have been carving in the hills for generations, covering it with soil brought here in buckets and wagons. The scream! The scream animal. Among the weeds and tall grasses, you spot rotting tools and a tunic. The pasture is overgrowing, and so do the fields. Some of the oats are ready for harvest. Something is wrong. I prepare my axe. Rotting tools? Is this another cursed place? I found another cursed place! Again? The locked gate is taller than a troll, but you can't imagine climbing up the massive wall. For a moment, you follow the path to the edge of the cliff. The roaring ocean is more than 100 feet below you. You spot no one looking at you from the watchtower. No patrols of archers. The wall is occupied by black and blue birds of various types. You return to the gate and focus on the sounds. There are a few screaming ibexes, and a young boy is crying. Is this old Pagos? Teferax says maybe it's just a little curse. Just a little curse. I knock on the gate with the handle of my weapon. Ooh! The thudding scares away the birds. They call loudly, starting the cacophony of throats and flapping wings. After maybe a minute, you hear a bronze plate scratching against the wood as someone reveals the peephole. The strict female voice stops you from coming closer. Traveller, old Pagos is secluding, for it has been smitten by a deadly plague. Be gone before you get sick. Plague! Ugh! Friendly, do you need any help? I'm the new Roadwarden. Playful, let your Roadwarden in. I can handle a sore throat. No! That's not an option. We're not doing that. Distanced, I introduce myself. Intimidating, then keep your distance. I'm a Roadwarden. I need to stay healthy. Alright. Vulnerable, I nod toward the peephole and step back. From a distance, I introduce myself. I'm feeling vulnerable, but friendly is also good. What do we think? Not playful. I can handle a little sore throat. Just extreme pandemic vibes of like anti-maskers. I can't cope with it. I refuse. I like vulnerable. Rowan says playful really seems to be the incapable of reading the room option. I mean, there's some environments in which I think it's probably good, but people aren't that playful in this world. just completely out of touch. Rowan thinks vulnerable. Let's do vulnerable. I nod toward the people and step back. From a distance, I introduce myself. You look into the young brown eyes that match the skin of the black-haired owner. While the woman looks like a southerner, she has a strong local accent. She follows you cautiously without blinking, like a fighter awaiting a strike. Salutations, Warden, and you're right to be afraid. We parted with a dozen souls already. Others are spending their days sleeping, screaming from nightmares. You hear more footsteps gathering near the entrance. The monks in the north are masters of spells and potions, guided by the right themselves, yet even they can't help us. May them be blessed for they look after our ill, a weak voice of an elder chips in. The woman continues, You won't find shelter here. We ought not drown other tribes with us, such as our duty. A pause. Even if they would not show us such kindness. True, they probably wouldn't. Before I go, would you answer a few questions? Ask, but there's not much we can do for you. We see no one. We travel nowhere. We were born on this hill and will die here. After a few breaths, her eyes get kinder. I'm Tertia. If you bring any news, I'll take them to our council. Okay. Are there any hunters from Creeks locked in there with you? She frowns. You're the first soul who came here in a very long time. Do you want me to ask the other villagers for help? There's no love between them and us. We don't share drinks, stories, or dances. If it weren't for marriages, our children would never see each other. And if it wasn't for trade, we could just as well live on a mountain peak. They need our stone, we need fishes and salt from Gale Rocks, game meat from creeks and grain from Howler's Dell. But all of them are harpies led by greed and lust, the same ills that wounded our grandparents. It's a bit strong. She hesitates and looks to her left. Still, the wicked souls of white marshes are even more burrowed in shadows. Okay. Sounds like you hold a grudge against them? She takes a deep breath. Yet I won't spread any rumours. As much as it saddens me, they need us to survive and we need them. And you're even stranger to us than they are. Okay. I don't want to ask about spouses. People are... I mean, there's a plague. There's a plague. Tell me more about this illness. She glances at someone or something that stands to her right. It lasts a long time. Even those who seem to avoid death remain weak for days. There are fevers, headaches, red faces, red eyes, and rash. Those whom we had to burn were sleeping and raving, unable to understand us, and got too weak to move or even drink. She looks down. Children and elderly suffer the most. Why don't you harvest your crops? Even though her cold gaze doesn't break, her voice betrays her pain. Some of our youth refuse to stay behind the walls. They say they need to leave before they fall sick. If we were to let them outside, one of them could refuse to come back. You frown. No, it wasn't pain what you've heard. It's shame. Oh. Eesh. Ugh. I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. You can't tell anything from her eyes. Isn't he dead? What makes you think that? I'd say that about any traveller who disappeared in the wilds. Wardens may know their roads, but they're not above humans. Don't you know the saying? Wait 2 days for the lost, 10 for the wounded, 20 for the ill and mad. You don't wait for more. So you were waiting for him? Rowan says, tragic music be appropriate? Yes. Quirrell says, sounds like scarlet fever, really nasty before modern antibiotics. Kyriva says, I was going to joke about it, but you can actually ask about village singles. Darn. Yeah, I know. That's not much of a secret. She looks to her right, then at you again. Head far east to the crossroads. You'll find a watchtower, an old building made of our stone. You notice the pride in her voice. But hardly used since the war. Your friend wanted to turn it into a shelter, hire guards, patrol the roads. He took our key and rode away. He was meant to meet with us again, trade for materials and tools. Never happened. Asterion took the key to the watchtower. The watchtower I could turn into a safe shelter. Any idea who else could have such a key? Before it was completed, the builders were spending the rainy days in the coastal villages in the far north. Gale Rocks, it's called. Ask there. Okay, so they might have a key at Gale Rocks. I know where the watchtower is, so I don't need to ask that. Were you bothered by any bandits in recent seasons? Not in years, Warden. They did attack us on the road once before, but their little pack won't come here. At first her tone is gentle, but after she blinks twice, it turns solemn. Or they would face our anger. Our wolves fear only dragons, and our blades are made of steel. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna call it here, everyone. Rowan says Asterion still the worst? Yeah, still the worst for sure. But maybe he was doing some great good work. We don't know yet, but I'm leaning towards he was the worst. Alright, everyone. This has been really great. I'm so glad to have returned to Roadwarden. I will, of course, be continuing it next Wednesday, and on Friday, I'll be playing more Outer Worlds! Yay! I can't wait to return to that either. Thanks, everyone, so much for the company. This has been delightful. I wish you a lovely rest of the week. Goodbye, everyone.